Mo, what's the secret for getting from 0 streams to 1 million streams? Yeah. What's the secret sauce?
For me, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks.
What's up? This is No Big Deal representing Middle Tennessee and Indie Tribe. You are now in the field with the Trackstarz.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah.
All right, this episode is sponsored by True Strength Apparel. Make sure that you go to www.truestrengthapparel.com for all the latest gear. Join the Trackstarz universe if you haven't done so. Also, if you are out there and you are a music artist and you want to submit your music to us, you want to submit your video or your beat submissions to us, we will definitely take those and take a listen to them and give you some feedback, and also post that up on the website for you as well. If you have not joined Nectar, that's the Elite Trackstarz distribution program. If you have not joined Nectar, you are missing out. So many great opportunities for you to have your music showcased on so many different platforms just by joining Nectar. So take a look at www.trackstarz.com. Also, you can go straight to that website. It's www.nectar.trackstarz.com and join the Trackstarz universe and all the great things that we have to offer.
All right, so we had Mogli the Iceburg in here a while back, and he kind of schooled us to everything about streaming and schooled the whole genre to it. People were debating with him. No, we shouldn't be doing that. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
But clearly he was right about that, right? So you just came out with your
every
album.
time.
Came out with Tumultu.
Yes, sir.
Short for tumultuous.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And the album was it was about racial tension in America, the whole imagery of drowning and what would you call you were drowning in?
Stop, Jonathan, stop.
So I kept it kind of open to the interpretation of the listener, but specifically I was painting a metaphor to sin. And the idea that when you're drowning, like initially there's this like violent shock.
Yeah.
You know, you don't, it's like you're struggling to breathe, it's painful, right? But after you kind of pass a certain threshold, you're not getting oxygen to your brain. Right. You start going into a way you're almost kind of high.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're chill. And then you're just in the water and you're complacent. And people say it's actually really a peaceful way to go. And the same kind of way is like with sin in our lives. It's like initially we feel that separation from God and it's violent, but the more that we crash the threshold and we become numb to it, you know, just forget how detrimental and how separated we are, and that forget that we're about to experience an eternal death from that. So that's what I intended, but I kind of left it up to interpretation.
It's awesome. And you just crossed a milestone. I saw you post. How many streams have you gotten now?
This last week broke 1 million streams on
That's
Spotify
amazing.
total.
Wow, that's awesome.
Congratulations,
Man.
claps.
Bro. Thank
I need
you.
to find claps.
Yeah, man. So seeing as how you've been championing the streaming thing, especially Spotify, I just want to get an update. Have you learned anything new in the process? And I got a couple of questions for you specifically too.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that it's a constantly changing market.
Yeah.
You gotta be up on everything. But with Spotify especially, man, it's a community. It's a community. It's a social media site. It's a networking site, and you gotta network with other artists. You gotta network with tastemakers, and the industry is really just it's crossed a tipping point, because it used to be that, you know, major labels and stuff kind of scorned streaming sites, and they're like, well, you know, if you want our catalog on there, you got to fork over all this ridiculous amount of money. But now when you look at people's sales, like the streaming equivalence is bigger than the traditional sales. So now the dichotomy is switched to where like the labels need the streaming to be able to make money. Like they can't afford to lose them. So, you know, Spotify is really kind of turning that on its head, and you know, is the next thing that's really going to go, I think, completely is radio. Spotify, you know, it does your custom daily mixes now, where it builds demographic profile to figure out exactly what your favorite types of genres are, what your favorite songs are, and by comparing you to other people like you and what their favorite songs are that you don't know about, selectively introduce you to new music that's going to be a high engagement and high retention.
Could we shout out, I mean, we got a playlist too we got going called The Milk that we put artists on and stuff. And and then shout out to the Blaze, man.
Angelica Legacy, man.
She's dope, man.
She's killing it.
She's really.
And AJ Karolinko. Is it what? I always screw up his last name.
Like, don't look at me.
You know what I mean? Don't put that on me. But they are tastemakers.
That's a basketball player.
that we are like. She works at Spotify, so that's a huge situation for her to do that with the Blaze. That playlist is always
that is doing well.
yeah.
And like I really appreciate that like she's given people that like aren't Reach Records, aren't signed.
Yeah.
You know, like she really a representation of like the actual culture of Christian hip hop.
It's a
So
meritocracy. You have to be good.
yeah, definitely.
You know, what you said really does hit close to home for an article that I read earlier this week where it talked about iHeartMedia and the fact that they could actually implode by the end of the year. They owe $350 million, and they had acquired Clear Channel for $24 billion.
Wow.
So they are in a lot of debt, and their CEO came out earlier this week and said that if they don't get it together, iHeartMedia might implode by the end of the year. And that would be huge for us because that would push internet radio and all the streaming sites back up on the top. Like right now, we still compete with terrestrial radio because it has the quarterly hour share that you just can't get from internet radio and you just can't get from streaming. But if this is something that we were able to achieve through, just waiting on technology to take over in advance, that would be awesome for all the independents.
Yeah, and I think you guys probably heard Sprint bought Tidal.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's the idea that, and I think that at this point, basically everybody has a smartphone.
Yeah.
And unlimited or high data is going to be more and more of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm surprised Apple hasn't done it already. They have hardware, they have software, they have the streaming sites. I'm surprised that Apple doesn't make a proprietary package. If you want to buy an iPhone, then you're going to have to pay an extra $5 to $8 service fee, and that you just have Apple Music regardless of whether you use it. Yeah. So, and then if that happens, then you open the door to all other corporate conglomerates like Google and Spotify. But the way we can all win from that, though, is if we get to a situation where everybody that pays for a smartphone, whether they use the streaming sites or not, is paying for a premium subscription tier, but it doesn't feel like it because it's bundled into a $120 bill. Right. So it feels like an amenity that you're getting with an extra fee. So it doesn't feel like you're paying for anything more. Right. So what that happens, it increases the amount of subscribers and the amount of total money in the revenue pot just exponentially. Right. And then it also increases the amount of users that are actually playing, but it increases the amount of people that are paying for it but not using it, which means for an artist, the amount of money you make per stream goes up.
Right.
So what do you say to those artists that still, like how you was defending it last time, they still on that no streaming?
Like, bro, you're going to get left 100%. If you're not on Spotify, you do not exist.
So how long before iTunes goes away?
I feel like 5 years, bro. Before it's like it's an afterthought. Like it like to where like they don't even like update the program, man. Like,
wow.
How long before radio goes away?
When everybody has smartphones and streaming, that is it. Like, I think there's actually some areas where people just don't like, especially in super rural areas where just like wireless internet isn't like a possibility. But great radio isn't a possibility out there either.
Here's another question, real quick. Like I think about the Jay-Z's. Like Jay-Z took his music off of Spotify. It's only on Tidal. It's like that, but you could purchase his music on iTunes, like all his albums, catalogs, and stuff like that. So, what do you think about artists that's going to try to do something like that?
It's kind of turning into the Netflix, Amazon, where you have proprietary.
And I feel like Jay-Z's a bad example because, I mean, like, hate on me, whatever. He's losing relevancy. Like he's a businessman. He's not a rapper, bro. Like, let's just be real. I feel like a more relevant example is Taylor Swift.
Gotcha.
Because she's not on Spotify at all, but regardless of her only having like one collab with Zayn, I think on Spotify, she's like one of the top like 50 artists in the world on streams.
Oh. So like, does she stream on other platforms?
I don't think she's on Apple Music.
Gotcha.
I canceled my Apple Music plan because they're whack.
Now we did have a talk about Chance, but talking about Chance, and I had a debate with Sherrod Wright, who chills with City Takers, and shout out to City Takers. Like, we go back and forth about, is he a true indie artist because he had a deal with Apple Music?
Right. And like, is Taylor Swift's on Big Machine, and that's an indie label because it's not part of the top 3, but it's like they got the connections. It's like it's really an arbitrary terminology difference between a major label and an indie label. Like I could be an indie label, or Reach Records can be an indie label, or Strange Music or Big Machine. It's like you can get you can win or just absolutely lose your shirt in a contract to either of them regardless. It's just whether or not they're owned by a corporate umbrella company of either Sony, Warner Brothers, or Universal. That's the only difference. But honestly, like a lot of like large indie labels are doing better than a lot of subsidiaries of like Sony and you know, Warner. So I mean,
so couple of tactic things. First of all, I've seen a lot of artists, their pre-orders are in the Christian and gospel category, and then they chart in the hip-hop category.
Yeah,
right.
And then they disappear from. Are they switching their
no?
category?
So that happens when, and that happened with my album. So I put it as hip-hop as the main tag, and then the secondary genre, I use TuneCore to distribute it, and I put it as you know, Christian. So it shows up in the pre-orders for some reason, but it doesn't show up in the main one. And I think that's just, I think they do that so it kind of pressures you into really like making a decision. Try to not game the system to like chart on minor charts. You know, otherwise I could like, you know, I could like title it like world music or something and sell like 6 copies and hit like top 10.
Yeah. Wait, you said what is that, world music?
Yeah, just some obscure genre.
Okay.
Or like, you know, I could like I could put it like polka,
vocal listening.
Vocal listening.
yeah, easy listening, or like so I think they do that
That's
to just
still
kind of
kinda
pressure
right.
people into like, really, this is my genre, and I'm not gonna try to like tag subgenres to try to chart in different areas.
Gotcha.
I have a question. Do we have fans that we know nothing about in Christian hip hop or in this genre?
Yes,
because one of the things I'm really excited about is that a lot of the new technology in cars is going to be Wi-Fi. And you can go to your favorite internet radio station. You can play your podcast without having to deal with the FM radio. Are we going to see a surge in what we're doing?
I think so.
Streaming and everything.
I think so. And like, bro, and it's really cool because like, just with the discovery outlets that Spotify like gives artists. So last time I was on here when we had that big Spotify talk, you know, I was just kind of getting the ball rolling with some things, and I was averaging like 700 monthly listeners on my Spotify. Yeah. You know, and a monthly listener is just one person that in the last 28-day window has played 30 seconds of one song. Yeah. So it's really more of an impression. You can't call that person a fan. Yeah. You know, it's an impression. Yeah. From that time, in 2 years' time, I'm up to like almost like 60,000 now. Yeah. You know, and those are impressions. So you can't, like I said, it's not like I have 60,000 fans, but I can look and I can see out of those people how many people have a habit of coming back and listening to me, how many people listen to me more than any other artist, how many people have listened to me every day this week, how many people have listened to me the majority of days this month. I can see what age they are, I can see where they live down to the city, and break it down in between fans and listeners and all this types of stuff. So you have a whole profile of what your market is, real time in fluctuation.
So are you talking about fan insights or
Spotify fan insights? But the cool thing with that is, like, you know, like I don't have nearly as many people following me on like Instagram or Twitter, but then it's like even on iTunes, it's like I'd have all these people just come out of the woodwork. It's like, bro, where you been? Yeah. Like, but it turns out like a lot of just regular people just don't use Twitter like that.
Yeah. And the good thing to win on Spotify is better than Twitter because you actually get paid for people following you. You don't. It's not just. You actually get money.
And now
when
you get to. You people get push notifications when you do stuff, and when you do better on Spotify, it changes your whole Google SEO ranking and everything. So like I got people that were getting Google push notifications for my album. Just a lot of it was because of the search engine optimization that helps from the streaming websites and stuff. So, and beyond that, you're like, once you get a little bit more established and you have like you're in a situation where like, you know, some people at Spotify. I got an email from Lincoln Park. And they said, and it was an email that showing like, you're in the top like 10% of our listening base. Wow. And because you're in this listening base, we're going to hit you with an exclusive merch offer. Wow. So it's like being able to target fans directly via email through your streaming service that are like, these are the people that are your core fans, and offer them exclusive incentives and rewards for being your core fans, in addition to tour dates and merch and all that type of stuff.
Are you on Merch Bar?
I'm not. I'm trying. I'm emailing with somebody. But they playing, bro.
So just a quick update. When we last talked to you, you were into the stock market, right? That's what your job was.
I was in logistic brokerage sales.
Okay.
And that's not my job anymore.
Okay. Are you full time now?
No. I'm not. But I'm a full time creative. I'm doing full time. I'm on salary working in a marketing company and doing full time audio and visual production. And
That's good. So you actually migrated away from that was and it's smart too. I mean, we knew you were smart when you last started on the show and gave us all that information, but you actually migrated to a 9-to-5 that still caters to your passion.
Right, and like, bro, I was so blessed, man. Like, this was just 1,000,000% God. Like these people, like, they were able to like be like, hey, what do you need? Like, we'll just buy you equipment to do whatever you want to shoot our TV commercials.
Do they
right?
support your music too?
Absolutely, bro.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
we do prison
That's
ministry with them. They
That's
take me out in the community. They've gotten really involved in mission work in the community. They took me down to Panama this January.
Wow.
Did prison ministry in Panamanian prisons, bro.
You're basically halftime then, because you're basically doing what you're
Yeah,
wanting to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, and I have health benefits. I have all this stuff, but and then they're also they're like, you need to play a show. It's like, okay, cool. Just
Don't
give us
do it.
a heads
Yeah.
up. But like they're like rooting for the moment that I can turn in my notice and be like,
That's awesome.
sorry, but I can't do both anymore.
Real quick, before we go, we have to do this. This is probably what I'm going to title the video. What's the secret for getting from 0 streams to 1 million streams?
Yeah.
What's the secret sauce?
For me, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, but you got to leverage your assets around you, and sometimes you got to spend some bread. For me, that meant like spending some money to get some people on some features that already had traffic to their sites, and just making sure I killed that feature and it aligned and built my brand.
So it's the cosign helped a lot, just kind of
Well,
borrowing from
it
audiences.
just helps kickstart it, but you know that can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people, just depending on what's available to you. You have to know your strengths, and you have to be remarkable. And when I say like you're remarkable, I don't mean good. Like, you have to be able to like make something that's worthy of a remark.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Ability to remark, yeah.
Right.
And I guess, when was the tipping point? When did you see that it wasn't just the average rapper on Spotify, where you actually started seeing momentum? What
I
was
started
that thing?
seeing momentum January 2016. I put out a song with Cannon, and before I put out my Synesthesia project, I put out the singles like back to back to back, like 2-week period, single, boom, and then collaboration. And then just try to be consistency, because people can't see my hand motion on the radio, but like it's like before I was like building momentum, and then I put out a project, then scramble to do something, but then I'm losing momentum because I haven't thought ahead,
yeah.
right? So it's like peak, valley, and hopefully the valley is not as low as where I
The
started
last
out
one,
before,
and you just
and then I
keep
keep
going
going and keep going, but I changed my strategy. I changed the way I was doing things, and I don't have valleys anymore. I just have growth.
That's awesome. Very good, man.
Wow.
All right, so hopefully that helps you guys out there. Said it took about a year before you start seeing the
Yeah.
fruit.
Yeah.
Keep working at it. You in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.